I'm not her, you know.
Don't say another word.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad. Now come dawn, we're going our separate ways.
Three months later, after interrogating a couple, Marlon and Florence, living in a remote place in Wyoming, Joel and Ellie discover they're near Cody, but the elderly couple doesn't know anyone named Tommy. They advise Joel and Ellie not to cross the Yellowstone River, saying that whatever must be on the other side must be horrible, as they constantly find bodies of both infected and non-infected drifting in the river. After the pair leaves, Ellie steals one of the dead rabbits by the door, when suddenly, Joel feels momentarily unwell. Ellie is concerned, but he recovers quickly, and they continue their journey. Eventually, they see a river, but as it's close to getting dark, they set up camp and cook their stolen rabbit. After Ellie takes a sip out of Joel's flask, she asks him what he plans to do if the fireflies do come up with a cure. After mulling it over, he answers he wants to have a ranch where he'll raise sheep, while Ellie thinks being an astronaut would be great. She then confesses that she knew Sam had been infected that night and that she rubbed some of her blood on his bite, hoping to save him. As she's doubting that the fireflies could actually come up with a cure, Joel assures Ellie that Marlene isn't a fool, so they must have found a way to make one. The girl offers to do the first or second watch, but Joel tells her he'll do both. However, the following morning, he ends up sleeping while Ellie takes the second watch, proving that she can do it, much to his consternation. Later, they observe the so-called River of Death for a while, but since they see no one, they cross the bridge. While they hike, Ellie tries to convince Joel to teach her how to hunt, but to no avail. Eventually, they come across a dam and another river. Then, it hits Ellie. Perhaps this was the river that the couple from the cabin was referring to as the River of Death. Just then, armed people on horses arrive, surrounding the pair. Joel loudly states they're only passing through, but still, the armed people stay tense, and they bring out a dog to check if Joel and Ellie are infected. Joel passes the dog test, but it becomes tense when it's Ellie's turn. However, she eventually passes as well. When Joel tells the group that she's looking for his brother, a woman comes forward and asks for his name. Soon, he and Ellie are on horses, and after passing through a sturdy gate, they see the thriving Jackson community with healthy and happy people. Joel then quickly spots Tommy, and the two brothers reunite with a hug. At a restaurant, both Ellie and Joel are ravenous, and as the girl is being too crass, Joel tells her to mind her manners. When Tommy introduces the woman earlier as Maria, his wife, Ellie congratulates them, but it takes Joel a moment to echo the sentiment. The couple takes the two on a tour, and when Joel asks how they kept the place quiet, Maria answers they don't advertise what they have and they stay off the radio, which makes Joel stare at his brother. Ellie asks if she's in charge of the place, to which Maria answers she was actually democratically elected. Though Tommy denies it, Maria openly admits that they're communists as all their things and properties are shared. Later, the two brothers talk privately in a bar, and Joel extracts from Tommy the nearest Firefly base, which is at the University of Eastern Colorado. When Joel invites Tommy to come with him, he refuses, which pisses Joel off. He's upset that Tommy listened to his wife and cut communications with him even though they're brothers, and all this time he's been worried sick, wondering if Tommy was still alive. Finally, Tommy reveals that Maria is pregnant, and as he's going to be a father, he wants to be more careful. When Joel doesn't congratulate his brother on his impending fatherhood, Tommy gets upset, and he states that though Joel's life stopped after Sarah's death, his life didn't, which prompts Joel to angrily leave. Outside, Joel has another panic attack, and for a moment, he believes he's seeing Sarah's back, but he quickly realizes it's not her. Meanwhile, a freshly bathed Ellie finds clothes on her bed, provided by Maria. Across the street, inside Tommy and Maria's residence, she finds a memorial for Sarah and Kevin. When Maria shows up, she hands the girl a padded jacket before offering to cut her hair. Ellie discovers that Maria was an attorney before the outbreak, and that she has a kid named Kevin who died. She also discovers that Sarah is actually Joel's daughter, which takes the girl by surprise. When Maria tries to warn her about Joel, Ellie states she isn't totally ignorant of his past. But still, Maria cautions Ellie on whom she puts her faith in, as only the people they trust can betray them. Later, Tommy finds his brother giving him a new pair of boots, before apologizing for what he said earlier. Joel confesses that Ellie is immune, and after some nudging from Tommy, he spills everything. He also tells his brother about how the girl had to save him from another kid, how a man killed his brother to save her because he froze, and how earlier he just stood in fear while the dog inspected Ellie. Joel believes he's grown weak, recalling how fear would grip his heart, and even in his dreams, he would always fail. With tears in his eyes, he says he wants Tommy to bring Ellie to the Firefly base, to which his brother eventually agrees. Later, when Joel approaches Ellie, she reveals she's heard part of his conversation with Tommy. She asks him why he's still around when he's just going to leave her anyway. When he tries to explain that Tommy is the better man for the job, she reminds Joel that she's not Sarah. Ellie states that everyone she cared for has either died or left her, except for Joel, and going with somebody else will only make her more scared. Still, Joel is firm that when dawn comes, they'll go their separate ways. The next day, Tommy comes for Ellie, and he accompanies her to the stables. But then, they find Joel already waiting there. He gives Ellie a choice, whether she'd prefer to go with him or Tommy, and without even letting him finish, she chooses Joel. Before they leave, the two brothers hug, and Tommy tells them that they'll always have a place in Jackson. As they journey, Joel teaches Ellie how to shoot, tells her stories, and banters with her. Finally, they reach the University of Eastern Colorado, where they spot monkeys that probably escaped the labs, but with no single firefly in sight. From a map, they learn that the fireflies probably moved bases to Salt Lake City. Just then, they hear noises outside and spot some people down below. Quietly, they try to make their escape, returning to where their horse is. Suddenly, a man attacks Joel, and though Joel kills the attacker, he ends up getting stabbed. Hurriedly, Ellie tells him to ride the horse and quickly does the same, before shooting at the other attackers to warn them away. Soon after, Joel falls from the horse unconscious. Scared and desperate, Ellie begs Joel to be okay as she cries helplessly.